So what did you think about the Detroit Lions taking Jahmyr Gibbs, running back at 12?
Well, I thought it was a pretty good pick. We've seen that DeAndre Swift, as talented as he is, we've seen his capability, and we see how special the offense can be when he's healthy. But he can't stay healthy, right? So why not go get a guy who's very similar to him? I think Jahmyr Gibbs is going to be one of the sleepers of this draft. He's super talented, doesn't have injury history, and so I think that kind of signifies that they may be moving on from DeAndre Swift, which DeAndre Swift is an outstanding player, and you can get a lot of pieces in exchange for him. He's a special back, but he just can't stay healthy, right? And so I like the pick with Jahmyr Gibbs because the name of the game, like I talked about on stage, is scoring points, right? The days of, we're going to stop guys and go 3 yards in a cloud of dust on offense. That the Ravens 2000 whatever, that's done. It's not happening, right? You got to score points, and the way you score points is getting electrifying players and hopefully in the draft or developing them. And I think that Jahmyr Gibbs is one of those electrifying players that they're going to be able to use to bolster that offense even more than they did late in the season last year.
You look at what Dan Campbell's done. He was with Alvin Kamara, a very similar player.
It's so funny. Because Terry Richardson said, this is Alvin Kamara. He told me earlier this week, he said, Jahmyr Gibbs is Alvin Kamara 2.0, right? And so the fact that Terry Richardson, who's going to come over with you guys later, saw that, and then Dan Campbell, like you said, was with Alvin Kamara, it kind of makes perfect sense. And it's just like, I don't think, there obviously you can always nitpick and say maybe there could have been a better option out there. But, as far as getting an explosive offensive player, I think they didn't miss.
I got to ask you a question about the quarterback position because I don't know if there's like a guy in here that interests you at all that's still maybe on the board, but I want to ask you specifically about the Will Levis situation. Do you have any thoughts on that? Because how do you weigh that? Like you get a guy, for example, Hendon Hooker, right? If I was asking you to compare the two, you got a Hendon Hooker who feels like the offense he's in, it was a lot of simplified things, right? But do you like the accuracy? Then you got Will Levis, and he's coming from NFL style offenses, but you get a little bit more like I feel he trusts himself maybe a little bit too much.
I'm glad you went there. I was wondering where you're going.
Okay.
Will Levis can't be trusted. I'm just telling you, Will Levis, there are a lot of things that I don't like about Will Levis. Obviously, natural physical gifts, great. Can throw the ball deep. It's just a few things, like the way the things he posts on Instagram, right? When you're going to be a first-round quarterback in the face of a franchise, those things matter, right?
Yeah.
The maturity matters because the thing is the way you live your life leaks onto the football field because you have to spend so much time being a quarterback outside of just being in the building or whatever. You have to spend essentially all your time learning how to be a quarterback and lead your team. And so I think that's a red flag. And then he had a quote when he went to the draft saying, I've got the strongest arm of a generation, right? Okay, that's fine. But then you go out and Stetson Bennett has the same miles per hour as you.
Yeah,
right? So you're not self-aware. Stetson Bennett's like 5'11", 170, like 180. And I just don't understand, right? And so that's the self-awareness. And then you go to the football stuff where just not very good in my opinion, right? He didn't do great things to be a first rounder right now. If you're looking third round, second round, maybe a project of let's take these tools and put them on display and kind of let them learn and teach them how to play, then absolutely. But taking them and making them your franchise quarterback in the first round with all those kind of red flags, in my opinion, I don't think that's smart.
King.
No, with some of those issues, we see a guy in Anthony Richardson go to the Colts. What's your thoughts on Anthony Richardson? And, when you watch his film, you see a lot of mechanical issues with him. You see him throw the ball to the other team. Anthony Richardson to the Colts at 4 when a lot of people had Will Levis going to the Colts. So what do you think about that?
It's so funny that happened because obviously the Colts are desperate for a quarterback. And when I did a show on it's called The Rally, I did that show a couple weeks ago, and they were asking me about Will Levis and Anthony Richardson, which one? And I said neither. First, right? But if I had to, right? If you twist my arm, I need a quarterback. My fan base is desperate for a quarterback. I'm taking the Richardson, right? Because they're the same type of player. Will Levis had more reps, couldn't beat out Sean Clifford, wasn't that impressive at Kentucky, and for Anthony Richardson, wasn't that impressive at Florida with great athletes. Except he runs 4.4, jumps 45. You know what I mean? So if I'm gonna take two guys, if I'm gonna go two guys that neither one of them may be the guy, I'm going to take the most explosive athlete with the highest ceiling that we've ever seen.
Can you make plays on fourth down? Now where you can do the quarterback sneak and easily get it.
And the Colts offensive line is not going to be great, I'm sure, right? You need help. And why not get a guy that can get you out of trouble, kind of like a pseudo Justin Fields, right? He has some electrifying plays. He kept your fan base engaged, and he can develop as a passer. And I think that Anthony Richardson's ceiling is extremely high. Now, his floor may be pretty low as well, but his ceiling is extremely high.
Talk about quarterbacks, Jared Goff. Thoughts on him?
Yeah.
This is a controversial subject here as Lions fans. What do you think he is? Can he be the franchise guy? Is he just waiting in the wing? Can he take the Lions and win us a Super Bowl?
I think so. He's already proven. It's weird that people think that he can't. When he's not, he's proven that he can go take a team to a Super Bowl. Right? You put the right pieces around him, he's an outstanding quarterback. Now, is he a guy that pulls a wagon full of garbage? And no, he can't. But if he has the pieces in place, explosive athletes on the outside, explosive run game, a good offensive line, a defense that is serviceable, he's proven that he can take you to the Super Bowl. Now, can he win it? He has to still prove that. But I think that he definitely can be the quarterback of our future. And my wish list is Hendon Hooker, right? Because
we love Hendon.
Makes sense.
I wanted him at 18. I'm fine with what happened at 18, but I want him at 18 because now you get a guy who probably would have been a first-round pick, right? I think so, a high first-round pick. If he hadn't gotten hurt, he could test and do all those different things. But now you get him in the building. He gets to learn from a pro, right? Because he doesn't have a whole bunch of reps. But he was outstanding with the reps that he had. You get him as a pro in that building, learning behind Jared Goff, who can give him so much different knowledge that, it's irreplaceable, the things that he can learn from a guy who's going to play well. Because Jared Goff knows this isn't a 10-year thing for Jared Goff. We know that, right? We're going to find our quarterback of the future. And so I think he's responsible and mature enough to help this young guy, and I think that'd be great.
I would ask you one real quick question here. If I was to watch all the quarterbacks, what would be the one thing on the field that you would say that's a red flag, you should stay away from it?
Or any quarterback in general?
Any quarterback in general. Just on the field, that's the red flag.
A quarterback that desperately avoids sacks way too often. Because desperately avoiding sacks is the leading cause of interceptions, right? And now, can you coach that out of a guy? Absolutely. But if it's in him, like some guys are just so competitive. If it's in him, it's in him. And if he's desperately avoiding sacks, getting hit while he's thrown all the time, right, not having the ability to drive the ball down the field and putting the ball in harm's way, that's how you lose games, right? You lose games by giving the ball to the other team. And so I think that's a huge – that sounds exactly like Will Levis. I didn't mean to do that. But that's like desperately doesn't know when the play's over, not self-aware. Like the play's over is second down, live to fight the next day. And if you see that too much, it's hard to look past that because that's going to be devastating for your program.
I appreciate that.
The Detroit Lions take Jack Campbell.
Okay.
The Detroit Lions take Jack Campbell at 18, linebacker. What did you think about that selection?
I like to say you guys are sitting there or standing there right when I was on the Huge Show, and I said Jack Campbell will be an outstanding pick for the Lions to pick up. And I feel like Nostradamus right now. I didn't talk to any Lions personnel or anything, but guess what? I saw Jack Campbell play. And the play that they showed during the draft where he kind of came up on the play action, played the run, right? Then he dropped out to the right, and then flipped his hips, dropped out to the left, and then he caught a one-hand interception on C.J. Stroud. That play alone made me look more into Jack Campbell and try to talk to his defensive coordinator, Phil Parker, who recruited me as a kid. So I got a chance to talk to him. I have a personal relationship with him. So I talked to him like, hey, off the record, this is not for the coach's call when I had their game. What is he? Who is this guy? He's like, listen, man, he is, first of all, a great leader, obviously, smart. He controls the defense, the very complicated Iowa defense. But he is an outstanding guy in the pass game and run game, right? Obviously, he's big as heck, right? He can run and hit people, but he has great speed. But he looked 6'4", 250, 60. He doesn't look like a guy that can run, but he can definitely run. And that play alone was something that made me take a second look and then see him in the game. He's just knocking the crap out of people. I mean, that's exactly what you want in the middle linebacker, and he has a lot of versatility. So I love that pick. I like the Lions draft here in the first round.
All right, so solid picks for the Detroit Lions. Got to ask you the hard question. This is going to be a topic on the radio all over the place for the next couple of weeks. Jalen Carter on the board. Detroit Lions trade back. Don't take that situation. Listen, if he turns into a Hall of Famer, what does this say?
Oh, no.
Hey, so I don't want anybody to see my face. Hey, this is going to be everybody's face if the Lions go win the Super Bowl and they have to beat the Lions to get there. Right? What if the Lions are really, really good and this guy, he dominates. I don't like it. I wanted to take Jalen Carter because the character issues, I don't think they're as big. I think they're kind of overblown. And I'm just telling you, the NFL is very strategic. It could have been the Eagles maybe blowing some of that smoke to make sure, fanning the fire, like, hey, if he drops to us, Brandon Graham, Fletcher Cox.
Oh, my God.
I mean, the list goes on and on. Jordan Davis is his previous teammate. You add this guy. That defensive line
is
sick. My God. And guess what? They're always going to be fresh because remember the questions were about his condition. Yes. He won't be tired. He won't get tired because he's going to be able to come out whenever he's ready. So I just hope for our sake that maybe not a bust, but just not that great. Yeah, it's not that great. Yeah.
Nick Fairley. We all hope he becomes a Nick Fairley right there.
Hopefully he can become Nick Fairley.
That would be really
money.
good.
We want him to make his money.
Yeah.
But just not that great.
Can I ask you one more question? Just one more. Have you seen any Aiden O'Connell? I just didn't know if you had any thoughts on quarterback out of Purdue.
Oh no, I like Aiden O'Connell. I think he's just a guy though. Okay. Right? Like a Jag, just a guy.
I get that.
Right? It's nothing super special about him. But the one thing that I can say that maybe it's his elite trait is his perseverance, right? He's a walk-on, a guy who is not he's like Tom Brady. Not saying he's Tom Brady, but like as far as physical gifts that don't exist, right?
He looks like golf.
Just his legs don't really work too good. His arm is just an arm. Yeah. He the accuracy is good, but he finds a way to get it done, and he's been kind of groomed by Brom, Brom and his brother. The Brom brothers at Purdue, obviously not there anymore, but with the way they spoke about him in meetings, they spoke so glowingly about him, and he was like the 7th or 8th guy on the depth chart when he got there. And for him to work his way and to be one of the leaders in the history of Purdue football in a lot of different categories, I mean, that counts for something, right? Even though he's not special as a talent, that counts for something.
I just spoke to you because of your point about being off social media, things like that. I know he's off of it, right? He's that guy that's humble, quiet. So I just think he's an interesting option.
Those are the ones you gotta watch out for, man. They're always so good.
Yeah,
they're dangerous.
Michigan football.
We don't know what he's thinking.
Yeah, that's true. That's
Michigan
true,
football. Are they going to do it this year?
Well, this is the thing. I just love. It's like the odds makers and the people who vote and who's going to win the Big Ten and all that. It's like they want Michigan to win it. They want Michigan to win that championship because how do you return almost your entire team and get transfers to make your team better, and you're not even favored to win the Big Ten? Right. Not in the team favored to win the Big Ten. You blasted them 2 years ago. You blasted them worse at home the next year, and they lost their quarterback. They just win the first round, but they're favored to win it. I mean, I guess I don't know. I don't know what to say, but I think they are, because if they have just a little bit different game plan in the first half of TCU and they use J.J. McCarthy's legs a little bit more and he doesn't make one or two mistakes, they beat the crap out of TCU going away. And then when they get up against Georgia, that's a dogfight.
Yep.
Right. I blame Michigan that we had to watch that drubbing that we had to watch in that championship. What are you guys doing? You guys should have been there.
You hear that, State fans in the comment? Tuck is not coming. Okay?
Wait, why are we talking about State? I mean, I love State. I mean, I guess. I mean, they're just you know how I said like Aiden O'Connell's a J, just a guy.
Right, yeah.
They're a J, just a team.
Man.
Get some love towards Michigan in there and
I
showing.
don't know, man. Maybe Michigan State's getting transfers. Maybe I don't know, but they're not in the mix. I don't think, unless something drastic happens. I don't think they're gonna be in the mix.
Did you nail a prediction in last year's preseason for the draft? Or was that someone else? I feel like you were doing a preseason game and you said this is what the Lions should do in the draft, and they landed Aiden Hutchinson.
Yep.
That was you, right?
Yep.
I was like,
I don't know if it was, but yep.
I'm like,
it did happen.
I thought it was you, man.
Yes, it was. I didn't believe it myself. I couldn't believe it.
That's awesome, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it was great having you on.
Appreciate you guys. I love what you guys are doing. Keep it going, man.
Yeah, I love it, man. Thank you so much.